Well, good morning, everybody. I think I'm gonna open up another window here. It is a beautiful day. We got a breeze blowing. The sun is out. Not a cloud in the sky nowhere. Not a chemtrail. Not anything in the sky. I mean, just the epitome of beauty. I got up this morning. It was 38 degrees, and by the time the sun cleared the trees, it went into the mid 40s. And now it's like 68 degrees outside. The wind's blowing. Utterly beautiful. I mean, literally. Now, they tell us this coming week we've got some rain possibly coming. Another cool front after it's warming up a little bit. Going to be in the high 70s, possibly maybe into the 80s, they're telling us. And I know that's got to be pretty accurate because I'm looking around out here. I see the yellow jasmine all in the woods that's bloomed out. As a matter of fact, the blooms are falling all over the ground around the shoot house here. It's upon us, guys. Spring has sprung in the deep south. We were looking over at Deepsouth. All my apricot trees all bloomed out, and peach trees blooming out. Blueberries all bloomed out here at Pecan Grove and over at Deepsouth Homestead. Everything is just popping. And I have talked to different weather people, especially my brother Mark from Weatherman Plus. And he says warm weather in the future, you know. And I've talked to different ones that run these big nurseries and stuff like that. Because they pretty much keep up with weather and stuff like that because of their nurseries. And they're telling me, you know, smooth sailing from here on out. Just no more hard freezes or anything like that. No more frosts. Of course, we all know that anything is possible. You know, I'm not trying to say it's not possible. But it looks like that the information that I was given, and I'm just getting comfortable, guys. I feel like we're going to sit here and talk. I might as well get comfortable. You get comfortable, get you something to drink if you want it, and we'll just we'll sit down here and we'll just chit chat. But you know, anything can happen. The weather can change no matter what. There's no guarantees in anything. But it does appear that this spring will be a true spring. But now, let you in on a little something that I've been told is that we better enjoy it. Especially us in the deep south here. We better enjoy it because I'm not speaking for the rest of the country. I'm just speaking for what I know about right here where I'm at. And we better enjoy this because once this, what you gonna call it, a good spring, you know, like we got some really pretty nice weather and everything's really, really good. We better enjoy it because when it's over, it's over. Okay, now we have nowhere near made up our water deficit from last year where I live at here. Now, I was noticing the New Orleans weather over in Louisiana. Their water for this year is above average. Ours is not. Ours is still way below average here where I'm living at. And I dig in the ground. Now, there's some moisture in the ground, but my ponds are still, they're not up to where they're supposed to be at, especially over at Deep South. Deep South, the back pond is just down to the bottom of the pier legs. The front pond is, it was running over, but it stopped, and now it's about a foot low because the ground is just so dry. The water's it's just going out into the ground. And over here at Pecan Grove, my pond was about a foot and a half going through the spillway. And I noticed the other day it dropped another 4 inches because I put a flag wherever the water line is. I put a flag there to see if the water's coming up or going down. And it looks like it went down about 4 inches. So that's not good, but I didn't expect anything any different because it's that dry here too. And then I was talking to one of Wanda's friends, Miss Renata, and she was saying that where she lives at, that the ponds are still 4 or 5 feet low. So evidently they're not getting the water either. So with that being said, you know, things are going to change, but not for the better. And that's kind of where I want us to think of, a little bit today. I want us to think about it's too late. Okay, when I say it's too late, I want you to really, now what I'm going to talk about today, I want you to really put on your thinking cap with me now, because I've been watching this now for several years, what I'm going to be talking about. And at first I was like gung-ho, you know, I was like, man, this is a good thing when we first started doing this. And the more that it goes on, the more I sit back and I begin to think, this ain't as good as it looks like it is. And what I'm talking about is the border, okay? It may get me in trouble on this, I don't know, but I'm tired. You know, I'm tired of somebody sitting here with their thumb on top of me telling me what I can and can't do. I've never complied with much in my life, and I don't plan on really starting at this point to comply. Now, I will follow guidelines of whatever I agreed to whenever I started doing something, but just to look at me and tell me that I have no say in something, I mean, it don't sit well with me. And the border issue is one of them. I was noticing that now Arizona, and those of you that live in Arizona, I applaud you for finally getting on board, especially your leaders, for trying to get more border walls up. Now, please understand, I totally understand that there is very few people in this country other than the Native Americans that actually are not of a mixed race, okay? Because most all of us that have been here, our family lines has been here for hundreds of years. We're German, Irish, whatever, you know, Jewish. I mean, we're just a cross between, you know, Scotland. I mean, everywhere, we're all just a cross between all of them, you know. So we can't just sit back and say that we don't believe in immigrants, because our forefathers were immigrants to this country. I mean, we might as well just accept that fact. But now, was everything done right back then? The answer is absolutely not. Stuff was taken from the native people back then, and the same exact thing is fixing to happen to us. What goes around comes around, okay? Now, the one thing that I look at, and in the beginning, I was all for get these borders up, man, stop this stuff in the beginning, and it would have been a great thing in the beginning, okay? Now, just follow me about what I'm talking about here, and I think we'll all come to the same conclusion at the end. I watched Arizona, you know, Texas has been doing this for a while, and I watched Arizona, and I'm like, okay, Arizona's saying now that they're going to get on board with putting up a border wall, and then possibly California. But it's too late. Okay, it's too late. I want to give you food for thought. Okay, I like playing devil's advocate. I mean, when I get on to something, me and my friend Daryl, we're the world's worst at playing devil's advocate with each other. I mean, Daryl loves to play devil's advocate with me, and we sit back and we laugh about it, we joke about it, but sometimes it's honest to goodness truth, you know. And I have to watch myself, because some of these things I'm extremely passionate about. And if I go to getting too passionate, I'll just get wound up and just go totally ballistic while I'm doing a video. And Ms. Wanda ends up having to cut most of it out. So I'm trying to maintain composure, you know, and just be calm and sit down and talk about stuff. But let's play devil's advocate now for just a few minutes. Let's just think about something. Okay, suppose we've gotten, I don't even know what the number is. Okay, I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't know what the number is on illegal immigrants that came in under the previous administration and then the two administrations before them and all. I don't know what the number is of illegal immigrants. I know that there is, it's been told to me that there is over 200,000 Chinese nationals in our country that came in here illegally. I know that. I've been told that. And I've been told that a lot of these other countries have a lot of people that's been in jail for quite some time because they're hardened criminals, and their jails are becoming overcrowded, so they bus them to the border and tell them, say, look, I'm going to give you your freedom, but you got to go to another country, you know, and which that country would be our country. And they just get to walk in here. Hardened criminals just get to walk in here. Now, is all of them bad? The answer is no. But I'm going to tell you how I look at this. I've got very close friends that are very powerful people that are from other countries that came and got their citizenship the right way. They waited for their citizenship. There's technically 2 to 3 different types of citizenships you can get, and some of my friends, especially very influential, powerful people in this country, they went for the most powerful citizenship that they could get. They were willing to wait on theirs and go through all the testing and whatever you go through to get that. They were willing to, and I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with somebody who wants to come in here to make this country better and to pay taxes and to be an American citizen and give up their citizenship from another country. Now, let's think about something here. We're sitting here now. We have umpteen million people in here that we don't even know who they are or where they're from. And we think about the southern borders. Now, let me say this. We think about these southern borders, from, like, say, Florida all the way around to California. We think, oh, this is a horrible place. But, a lot of the Chinese nationals have came in from Canada across that border. And they're pulling Border Patrol from Canada, sending them south. But let me tell you something. Did you know the eastern seaboard of the United States, that illegal immigrants have been coming in there by the hundreds of thousands? They come in on big ships or boats, and they set up on a shoreline, and people think that they're like a charter cruise coming in. They don't think anything about it. And then when it gets dark, they just disperse, and then they go into the cities, into the places, and get on buses and go only God knows where. And then the boat just sits there, and then when the Coast Guard finally figures out that this is just a boat from this random who knows where, there's nobody on it, and these people are in our country now, and they don't know where they're at. So we have all this. This has happened up down the East Coast big time. So we're sitting here now. We have umpteen million of these people in our country. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are, and we don't know anything about them. And yet we're like, the left wing and the right wing and all's got to say, now we got to start getting these borders put up. Well, let me throw something at you. Just for food for thought. Playing devil's advocate here. Okay, suppose now the Democrats, Republicans, everybody get on board, and we go, it's time to put a wall up, and we go out here and we put all these walls up. What are walls for? In Germany, what was the wall for in Germany before they tore the walls down there at Berlin and all that, East and West Germany? What was that wall for? Was it to keep people from coming in? No. Nobody wanted to go in there. It was to keep people from getting out. What about China? Was China's Great Wall to keep people from coming into China? No. It was to keep the Chinese people from leaving China. And I am here today to say that it could highly be possible that now that we have umpteen million of these people in here, that now our country goes, oh, let's go ahead and do this border now, because our people might decide we don't want to be here, and they're allowed to go somewhere else. So now that we've got them in here, let's hem them in, and they can't get back out. Have you ever stopped to think about that? That is a very big possibility. And then on top of that, let's talk about something else here. There's word out there floating around in higher places, let me say that they're talking about giving a lot of these immigrants a $10,000 card, a Visa card. That's your money. That's your money. That's my money. Because I pay taxes every freaking year of my life. That's our money. That they just going to give them $10,000. Now stop and think about something. If they're going to do that, then they should give every American citizen that's on Social Security the same $10,000 and not have to pay it back. And the one thing that just drives me up the wall and pisses me off big time is people who've worked their whole entire life and have 401k plans. I have a friend right now that I was talking to this past week in his late 70s who has a 401k plan that he cannot get but 5% a year out of his 401k. If he takes any more than that out, he has to take that out. They told him, you have to take this out. But if you take out more than this, we will penalize you. You're in your late 70s. Give the man his dadgum money. If he wants it, let him have it. Don't charge him. Now, if he put it in there and he didn't pay taxes, then let him pay taxes on it. But don't penalize him for taking it out. For God's sake, it was his money to start with. And he's old. He maybe needs it. I mean, how much longer is he going to live? You know, I was looking back at what I've paid in Social Security my whole life. And I draw my Social Security now. But you know, if I live to be 80 years old, I will not draw what I put in. It's just not possible. So where does the rest of my money go? Does it go to my family? I doubt that. It'll probably go to some foreign country to study gender, or it'll go to some $10,000 credit card to some undeserving illegal immigrant. You know, I mean, yeah, is my video possibly going to get in trouble this time? It very well might possibly be, but you know what? I am sick and tired of all this mess. Can I do anything to change it? And the answer is absolutely not. I can't change nothing they're doing. All I can do is try to take care of my family, do the best that I can do, raise my own food, stay my butt out of a grocery store because they're nothing but poison. And look, try to do the best I can do. Because I'm going to tell you something. You can mark this down that Danny said this, and when it happens, you can say that I said it. There's going to come a time you're not going to be able to go to a cotton picking grocery store. You know, it's already if you go to a hospital. Now, this is what blew me away. And this has been 25 years ago or more. Whenever my brother got hurt, I was back in the early 90s. I had to go into a major university in Alabama late in the evening. I parked my car with my family out in the parking lot, got out, walked in the hospital, and some guy grabbed me. I'm about ready to mess up somebody really bad because I was a young man at that time. And I looked around as an officer, and I said, "Sir, get your hands off me." I said, "What have I done?" And he said, "Sir," he said, "did you just walk in here out of that parking lot?" I said, "Yes, sir. I parked my car out there, and I walked in here. My brother has been flown in here in really bad shape, and I came to see him. Now, is there a problem with that?" He said, "Well, usually, if you want to be safe, I usually come to the vehicle and get you and bring you in here, and then I will escort you out of here because it's not safe in the parking lots." And I told him, I said, "Well, this 9mm on my side assured me that if I wanted to come in here, I could come in here without any problems." And he said, "Well, it's just policy here." He said, "When you get ready to leave, if I'm on duty, please get me where I can walk you back to your car." And I told him, I said, "I appreciate that you're willing to walk out there with us." I said, I didn't know. I went to a hospital thinking it was perfectly fine to walk in there, and this was in the early 90s. It was already that bad in a university in Alabama. I don't even know how bad it is now. I have no clue. But if it was that bad then, you mark it down that in the very near future, they will more than likely have a guard at a grocery store. They'll have to put law there or anywhere else because food is going to become so hard to get that if you go in and buy food in a grocery store and you try to get from the grocery store to your car, somebody might try to take it away from you. They'll probably more than likely have it where you can leave where your groceries will stay at the front door and you'll have to go get in your vehicle and drive up to the front door and pick them up there under guard. Because there would not be enough guards to walk everybody to their vehicles. I mean, they already have surveillance cameras everywhere. because of all the hardened criminals we've allowed in this country, our sovereignty and our ability to live free and to live peaceably is going to be gradually dwindling away. And a lot of the American people will be like a lot of the Chinese people, or a lot of the German people was, or a lot of the Soviet people, or the North Korean people. Do I need to just keep going on about communist countries? The people want out of that country, and yet we're sitting here in a country that's been free, and we want socialism because we want nationalized medicine, and we want to be able to have the government pay for our medical bills and pay for everything. This is what the younger generation has been bred into their heads, that it's good. It's not. It's not good. And we have to stop and sit back and think about this. It's too late now. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. It is too late. Because if you try to do anything now, there is enough of these people in our country that they're, well, I can't, I want to say so much. There are cells that are scattered all over this country that communicate with outside foreign issues, waiting for the signal to do something. Not only to our grid system, our water system. If you're on a municipal water system and your water comes from a city, a municipality, or whatever, you better get you some kind of good filtration system on that sucker, because I'm going to tell you what, all they got to do is tamper with that water system at that facility, and they can kill out everybody in the town in a matter of one day. Now stop and think about that. That's how easy it is to make something like that happen. And why do you think they're pushing to get everybody on a municipal water system? Because they can put something in the water for everybody, and they can do it all at once. It makes it a whole lot easier to control everybody or to take everybody out if you have them all on one system. There will come a day. Now, I don't own a cell phone. I'm going to tell you now. Don't ever try to email me, text me, talk to me, or anything. I don't own a cell phone. I don't want one. But I've also been told there's going to come a day in the very near future that just like having to have insurance on a car, it will be mandatory that you have a cell phone. Because it will carry with it your medical history. Everything about you will be on that cell phone. And just beyond that point is that little bitty mark that we all are so familiar with, if we know anything about the scriptures. That little mark that I don't necessarily, let me say this, I don't necessarily believe that it's a actual mark, okay? When it says in the right hand or in the forehead in the scriptures, that mark we're talking about, I want you to think about something. Let's play devil's advocate again. Let's think about something. The frontal part of the brain is the part of the brain that deals with religion or deals with agreeing to do something, acceptance, all that type of stuff is dealt with the frontal part of the brain right here at the forehead. It's right behind the forehead. The right hand, remember when we were growing up, how did you seal a deal? How did our parents and our grandparents, how did they seal the deal? They shook on it with their right hand. So what does that tell me as a believer? It tells me that if I am going to accept something, then the right hand was a shake to accept or to give my word. And it was acceptance came through the frontal part of my brain up here on my forehead. Is what the decision was made to be able to agree to it. Now, the mark that we're talking about is not one that will be, it won't be forced on you. Because if it was forced on you, it wouldn't be right. It's something that you have to be willing to accept. Well, there is talk out there right now that there's a system coming that if you're on the system, Social Security, you get annuities or whatever, you get assistance, subsidies, all this kind of stuff, that you might be looked at and said, you can no longer have it unless you accept this mark. And if you go, nope, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept the mark. Okay? I'm not going to accept it. And they look at you then, and lots of people can live without the money. And then they look at you and go, okay, then you get no medical. You cannot go to a hospital. You get no police protection. You get no fire protection from the fire department. You have no driver's license. If we catch you on the road driving, we will arrest you and put you in prison. You're on your own. What then? Will you accept it then? And you go, but I live in a city. I don't have a choice. Point made. People will feel like they have no choice. That's where, remember I've told y'all in the past to build your faith. Because there's coming a day when your faith is all you will have. You will be 100% dependent upon the Lord Himself to take care of you. Why do you think in Scriptures He made the statements that He will never leave you nor forsake you? And then He talks about Solomon and the flowers of the field. Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like the flowers in the field. They toil not, nothing, but they're taken care of. The sparrows, they're fed every day, and yet they didn't plant nothing. We're coming to a point where we'll have to make that decision here before long. And it's coming very rapidly. Because those of you who know about Agenda 21, most everything on the Agenda 21 list was accomplished. Now we have Agenda 2030, and then right behind that we'll have Agenda 2050. And you need to look those things up at the UN charters and see what they're all about. It's like 17 points. You need to check out the Agenda 2030 and see what their agenda is, because they are rapidly, when I say rapidly, I mean every day, they are getting closer and closer to accomplishing their agendas. So guys, today, this video may be pulled. I may be pulled. I don't know. But it's high time we understand what's going on in this country. And remember, it's too late. Okay? It's too late now to do anything. The Lord told me years ago, judgment had been passed upon this country. And now we've allowed umpteen million of the unknowns in here. It's too late. If you build a wall now, it ain't going to stop nothing now, because they're already here and you can't go anywhere. Stop and think about that. Sometimes we just have to play devil's advocate and ask ourselves the question, is what we see what's really going on? The answer is absolutely not. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. And guys, let me tell you something. If you want to keep up with us, go over to Pecan Grove. There'll be a link in the description below. Go over there and subscribe, and we will be showing you over there how we're preparing for what's coming in the future. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.